Welcome to an introduction to the two pointers pattern. What is the two pointers pattern and where can it be used? It is an optimization over the regular traversal methods for arrays or linked lists. It comes into play when multiple traversals are required to find the required data or to organize the data based on the constraints specified in the problem. It will reduce the number of nested loops required to iterate over the array, and thus it reduces the time complexity. The idea is to start with two pointers traversing the array to get the job done. Let's understand this more with an example. You're given an array of sorted numbers. You have to remove all the duplicates from it. You shouldn't use extra space, meaning you shouldn't be using an additional array to do this. And the result that you need to return is the length of the modified array. So let's see an example. So the first example has 2, a few 4s, 6 followed by a couple of 8s. So the 4s have duplicates and the 8 has a duplicate, right? So if you remove the duplicate 4s and the 8, you will be left with 2, 4, 6 and 8. Those are the unique elements, and the size of that array would then be 4. So that is the output that you'll be returning. In the second example, the 2, there are a couple of duplicates of 2. So if you remove that, the size of the array gets reduced to 3. So if you did not use or know about the two pointer pattern, how would you solve this problem? You would start traversing through the array and compare each element with the previous element to see if it's a duplicate. The advantage you have here in this case is that it's a sorted element. It's a sorted array. So all the duplicate elements will be right next to each other. So whenever you see a duplicate, you shift the rest of the array from that point onwards to the right, one step to the left, right? That will decrease the size of the array by 1. So let's see this how this visual works. So your pointer is here where you're starting to traverse the array. So you keep going one step to the right with every iteration. Your array length initially is the full length. So your next moves to 4. 4 is not the same as 2, so you can continue. You get to the second 4 and you see, you compare it to the previous one, you find it's a duplicate. So now you have to shift this part of the array, the 4, 6, 8, 8, one step to the left, which is what we are doing here, right? So once you shift that 4, 6, 8 and 8, the last element of the array becomes immaterial. You'll be ignoring that because you've reduced the array length. So now with one duplicate removed, your array length has been reduced by 1. And you keep going further. You keep the pointer at the same place because after shifting you want to check the number, whether the number is again a duplicate. So you keep the pointer there. In this case it is a duplicate. So you shift the rest of the array all the way from one step right of the duplicate all the way to the array length. In this case it's these 3 elements. You shift that one step to the left. Now you have an array which looks like this: 2, 4, 6, 8, 8. The last two positions are immaterial. So now you continue traversing. 6 is not a duplicate, so you continue. You come to the first 8, it's not a duplicate because the previous element is 6. And you then go to the next 8, you see that it's a duplicate. There are no more elements left which can be shifted to the left, right? So you reduce the array length, which now points to this. So the overall length is now 4, right? So this is what you'll return. So this is how you would do it if you didn't know of any particular patterns, right? This is the brute force method. This is an implementation of that brute force method, where if you see, you have a for loop where the next starts off, it's starting at the second position because you want to compare it to the previous one. The first element, if you take it by itself, it's always unique, so you can leave it as it is. And then you start traversing, and whenever you see a number which is the same as the previous one, you remove or rather shift the entire array to the right of that number all the way one step to the left, right? So this remove entry from array, that's what it is doing. There's another for loop where it's going through each step and shifting each of the elements one step to the left. And you continue doing this every time you see a duplicate in this for loop. You shift all the elements one step to the left, right? And you reduce the array length by 1. And the next you're reducing as well, which we already saw in the visual, is the next we're keeping it the same to offset the increment we'll be doing when we go through the for loop, so that we revisit the new number that has been shifted to that particular position, right? We want to see if the newly shifted position is a duplicate as well. So what's the complexity of this particular solution? So you have a for loop here which is running all the way from the beginning of the array to the end of the array. If the size of the array is n, that takes O of n, one iteration. But inside this you have a nested for loop in the form of this function call, right? And this nested for loop is also shifting the elements pretty much the rest of the array all the way to the left, right? So there's another iteration which is related to the length n, the size of the array. So there are two for loops, each operating on the size n. So the complexity here becomes n square. The space complexity is of 1, because you're not really using any additional space which is related to the size of the array, right? So now let's take a look at what we can do with the 2-pointer pattern. So we saw that the complexity there was of n square for the brute force approach. Can we reduce this? Yes, by using the 2-pointer pattern, where each of the 2 pointers does one pass over the array. That would effectively be 2n, right? But in terms of complexity, 2n gets reduced to n, so it would be O of n. So let's start with the fact that the array is already started. We know that the duplicates, if any, will be right next to each other. So one pointer we'll keep to iterate over the array one step at a time. The second pointer is a pointer which will indicate the place where the next unique element has to be placed, right? And as you start iterating through the array, whenever you see a non-duplicate number, you can move that number, you can swap that number with the number at the position which the unique elements pointer is pointing to. Okay, so in the first iteration, the next will be here. You start off with both the pointers at the beginning. The first element is always unique, so you can directly move the unique elements pointer to the second position. Once the next reaches there, it will compare the element there with the element at the unique element pointer. Okay, in this case, okay, you saw it was unique, you moved the next, and you moved the unique pointer as well. And when you move to the next position, so now this 4 was unique, so we still move the unique pointer element one step ahead, and the next also gets to this position, so we compare the value at next to the value of the unique element pointer minus 1, right? In this case, when we were here, we compared next, which was 4, to unique element pointer minus 1, which was 2, so it was unique, so we incremented the unique element pointer, so it got to this place. So now when the next got here, we compare the value at the next pointer, which is 4, to the unique element pointer minus 1, which is 4 as well. So now we see a duplicate here, right? So we don't do a swap, we don't increment the unique elements pointer, we keep it here and move the next. So the next goes here, it sees that the value 4 is the same as unique element pointer minus 1, so it's a duplicate, so there's no swapping required. So the next will move, but the unique element pointer will remain here. So when the next comes to 6, it sees that 6 is different from this 4. So we'll swap 6 to the next unique element pointer place, which was this, and move the unique elements pointer one step to the right. So now the position where the next unique element needs to be placed is this. That's where the unique elements pointer is pointing. And the next pointer moves, so it goes to the next number, which is 8. 8 is compared to the value which is previous to the unique element pointer, which is 6. 8 is compared to 6. It is different, so we put 8 in the position of the unique element pointer. So the 8 moves here. As soon as we move it here, we increment the unique element pointer by 1, right? And the next step, the next pointer goes to the last one, so it sees that the value here is the same as unique elements pointer -1, so it's a duplicate. There's no swap required, right? So now we've reached the end of the array. So the size of the array which is unique would be this unique element pointer -1, or if you are looking at it from an array indexing point of view, this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is the actual size. 4 is the size of the unique array with duplicates removed. Let's take a look at what this looks like when implemented. It looks quite simple. It's just one single for loop where we start off with the unique element pointer pointing to the second element in the array, or the size of the unique element array, which is 1 because the first element is always unique. So the pointer starts at 1 because we only need to start comparing from the second element onwards, and all the way till the length of the array this pointer moves. So we, at every point, we compare the number at which the pointer is to the unique element pointer -1, because the unique element pointer is pointing to the position where the new unique element has to come. So the element previous to that is the one that needs to be compared with to see if it's a duplicate, right? So if it's not a duplicate, that means you have to swap the numbers, right? So if a new value is seen, so you put that in the position of the unique elements pointer and increment the unique element pointer, right? So if you do this, this is exactly what the visual representation in the previous slide was showing. And then finally you return the unique element pointer. The value here is the position +1, which is equal to the size of the unique element array. So now we've reduced the solution to this problem to a complexity of O of n, because there's only one for loop going through or traversing through the array, right? And the space complexity remains as before. So what are the takeaways for the two pointer pattern? When do you use this method? You basically use this method when the problem involves an array or linked list traversal, and the goal is to find a particular element or find a set of elements, or to organize the data of the array in a particular pattern to meet the criteria of the problem. And it is also useful to reduce the time complexity compared to the brute force method. By using two pointers, you are actually trying to eliminate one of the inner for loops. That's when you actually use this method, when you want to optimize or you want to traverse through an array and achieve a particular task. How do you use this method? You start off with two pointers. The two pointers can be positioned based on the requirement for that particular problem. Okay. The first pointer can start at the beginning or in the middle. The second pointer, in a lot of cases, it starts at the same position. In some cases, it starts at the last position. It can also start in the second position or the middle position. Or if you have a need to a problem where the size of the array meeting a particular criteria is fixed, then you can position it as a pointer at the kth position, where k is the size of the array which you are trying to find as a solution to the problem, right? And additionally, some things to keep in mind when going through this or using this two pointer pattern is, in some cases, if the array is unsorted, you will need to sort it first. By sorting it, you are adding some complexity to the solution. The sorting will take n log n time. But in spite of that, this will be faster compared to the nested loop method that you'll have. The two pointers that you have, they can traverse in different directions. For example, if you have the palindrome problem, you can start off with the two ends of the string and traverse towards the middle, trying to see if it's a palindrome. The pointers can also move at different speeds. There is a linked list cycle problem which falls into this, where one pointer is moving one step at a time, the other pointer is moving two steps at a time. We'll come to that when we cover the linked list. These pointers can also operate on two different arrays. For example, if you're trying to merge two sorted arrays, you can have one pointer on the first array and another pointer on the second array, and you can start merging them as you traverse through the two arrays with the two pointers. These are some of the frequently asked problems related to the two pointers pattern. The reverse a string in place, move all zeros in an integer to one end while maintaining the order of the other elements. In an array of elements, find two numbers that can add up to a particular sum, or find three numbers that can add up to a particular value. Merge two sorted arrays, confirm if a given string is a palindrome, find or remove duplicates from a sorted array, implementing the str problem, trapping rainwater and container with most water are standard problems. Then there is the Dutch national flag problem, which is also related to this. So that's an introduction to the two pointers pattern. You'll have some practice problems to solve once you are aware of this two pointers pattern. Thank you.